There you go.
Hey.
NFC Championship celebration going on behind us right now.
We're going live, baby.
We're going to the Super Bowl.
You're damn right.
To the Super Bowl, and I gotta say, before we get into the post game, and it's gonna be short, it's more of a celebration. I want to say this: at halftime, I tweeted out, "I believe in this team."
Tell him, Jesse.
I believe we're gonna win this game.
Tell him, Jesse.
And I had so many people in my comments on Twitter telling me it's over. They don't believe in this team. And I have to say, I took a lot of crap this year for my thoughts about Brock Purdy. And I was somebody that was called a non-fan. But I believed, and a lot of people didn't. It's out there on Twitter, so I just want to clear the air on
and
that.
I want to say this, man. We all do this. We like to talk ball. But Jesse's one of my closest friends. I mean, to be here together with this guy, this kind of moment, classic game. This guy, it's emotional for both of us. It's a journey, brother. I mean, and I just hope everybody faithful. You guys are enjoying the hell out of this because we are just, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Man, okay, so first half was really rough, David.
It was rough.
What is the biggest takeaway you had from that half?
First half, I mean, I'll say it was on both sides of the ball, right? Time of possession actually wasn't as lopsided. Both teams had it 5 times. So, yes, our defense couldn't get a stop, but our offense couldn't get anything going either. We had some turnovers. We just had some 3 and outs. We had some struggles. And then the Purdy's arm getting hit. It was a disaster class. It wasn't a master class.
Yeah.
And so you go in the half. Thankfully, you get the ball back. And what you go in there, I know Jesse and I had hope, but let's be real. We were also being like, the odds are pretty slim, right? Yeah. But you come back, you start, you lap them, you score, you get 3, you get 7, you get 20 unanswered. And the answer to that game to me was Brock played with fire, but Brock's athleticism at the end of the day matters. Defense came back, got turnovers, made big plays, and Brandon Ayuk, pay that man.
Absolutely. Okay, so yeah, first half went about as bad as it could have. Starts out with the Moody miss, and then they just couldn't get a stop on defense at all. The offense wasn't amazing, but they were not the problem in that game. Not in the first half anyways. And then you get the second half happening, and there's 3 minutes left in the third quarter, and the 49ers came all the way back. 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Let's put that in perspective for a second. They're down 17, and they come all the way back. Now, listen, I know you and I have a difference of opinion on Dan Campbell, okay?
And we're going to talk about Dan Campbell.
I think Dan Campbell's a good coach. However, we both agree that Dan Campbell lost that game. If they make one of those 2 field goals instead of going for it on 4th down, that whole game changes completely. Dan Campbell was in our favor, okay? Dan Campbell was on the 49ers side.
And let me tell you why. Look, all due respect, Dan Campbell seems to have the love of his players. Dan Campbell is not built for this type of game. Dan Campbell, and I love the balls that Dan Campbell has in certain situations where the analytic, whatever you want to say, called for. In those situations, in a game against a team the caliber of the 49ers, if they would have taken just one field goal, and they did it 3 times, they got stopped 3 times. Look, Dan, he's good for sound bites. I know he loves the players, but this tough guy going with your gut, it works. And when it doesn't, you're there and you're going back home. Yeah. And now they're going to lose Ben Johnson, and they're going to lose some other guys around him. Yeah. And all of a sudden, are we going to see some Sirianni regression for this team next year? That being said, Dan Campbell seems like a nice guy. I just wouldn't want him as my head coach.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, David. I don't know if you know this. You were taking a shower when I recorded the video, but I made a video when I got to the hotel room. And I said, the 49ers, I think, are going to pull away in the second half. Now, they did just that. Here's what I didn't account for. Being down by 17 at halftime. I did not account for that. So, what are you going to do?
And I said, hey, I'll eat micro. I thought this was going to be a statement game. It actually ended up being a statement game, but not the way that I said. So I can't take credit for it. So what this statement game was, what we've seen is 2 weeks in a row. And it's the Niners shooting themselves in the foot and coming back and responding. Now, you can't play like this in the Super Bowl. It's not going to cut it. But we've been always saying, and Fred Warner said the whole grimy game, that phrase is like got legs all season. Well, there's 2 grimy games, the grimiest of grimy games. I think they set an NFL record for biggest halftime deficit comeback.
I think so.
I mean, guys, And I'll say that about Brock Purdy. I've been balanced about him all year. I mean, I'm wearing a jersey. I love Brock. I'm an Iowa State guy. I believe in Brock. And I also know that he was playing with a little house money tonight. But when it counted, his athleticism, his intuition, his pocket, his ability to evade pressure in the pocket, the throw to Kyle Juszczyk, to me, goes down as the play of the game after, of course, the Brandon Ayuk catch. Yeah.
Okay, give me 2 players that you want to see play better in the Super Bowl and 2 players that absolutely crushed it today.
2 players that I need to see play better are Fred Warner and Chase Young. Chase Young was embarrassing. Fred Warner, I'm just a guy, right?
But, hey, there's the team walking off. Hold on, I'm going to show you. There goes Kyle. There goes Kyle. All right, who's the other player you want to see play better?
Well, Fred Warner and Chase Young.
Okay.
The 2 guys that I think actually absolutely killed it are Brandon Ayuk, and Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa was a beast all night. He was getting double teamed, sometimes triple team chipped. He goes in. He's at 2 sacks. I predicted it was over 1.5. He got 2. Probably could have had more. He needs help. He cannot be the only guy that disrupts. And tonight, the Niners dug deep, got a little lucky, but they made their own luck too, and that's what matters, and that's why this team is special. That's why this team is good. That's why this team can win.
Well, I'll say the 2 players that I want to see step up is the whole offensive line. Brock Purdy was under pressure all freaking day, so that's a unit. Okay, not a player, but that's a unit. And shoot, I'm gonna go with. Oh man, this one's tough. Listen, George Kittle didn't have a bad game, so this is not coming from a place he needs to play better because he had a bad game. But I want to see him be a big part of the game plan in the Super Bowl. George Kittle said, "We will be back here." Well, guess what, George? You're back here against the team that beat you. So for me, he's got to be huge. Now, 2 players that played phenomenally. Deebo Samuel carried that offense at times. There was big plays from him at big moments. And Brock frickin' Purdy, man. I mean, and it wasn't even the throwing. It wasn't even the throwing. It was the running, the athleticism, the movement in the pocket, the legs. That was the difference today. Absolutely loved it. Fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed this game as much as we did. Peace.